All right, everybody, we are going to integrate this 3D animation of a pond in our live footage and sell it a little bit better by having a horse go in front of that footage. And that requires what's called rotoscoping or masking. And it's relatively easy, but a little bit tedious, and we're going to get started right now. So what I have are two pieces of footage. One is the live footage, so we'll just hide the 3D animation, and we have the 3D animation, and I'll hide the footage. And you can see this is what we've got. And right now, this one has a mask on it, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in a brand new copy of this, and if I scroll just this end bit, you can see it's just the pond. Now, if I go ahead and bring my horse in, and we can also see that the grass sits in front of our horse, which obviously is not going to be a good sell. So my technique for doing this is to select the footage, the 3D footage that we're going to mask or rotoscope. So we want to hide some of this 3D object, this animation that's in place, because this is it's a pond that's just sitting here and with some grass, but of course the horse goes ahead of it. So down in our effect controls panel, if you don't have this, then you can find it up in window and effect controls. Bring that up. It's going to bring up a window, and this could show up anywhere on your screen. Mine is here, and we're going to go to the opacity, select the pen tool or the free draw Bezier tool, and we're going to go over to our footage, our program monitor, and select 400%. We want to be in as close and tight as possible. Now, Premiere is obviously not the best program for this, but it's what we've got. You might not be able to afford After Effects, and so we're going to do this in Premiere. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my footage that has the most hidden, because this is where we're going to want to make the most points, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. So let's bring our opacity down for our clip so we can see where we're going to be masking. So just enough that we can kind of see where it is and also where the grass is and where the horse is. And we're just going to start somewhere up here and click and drag just a little and get those little handles that pop out. And then we're going to come down to the next little spot that we can put these in. Okay, we'll just pull these handles out, and then we'll click off of there, and then holding the Alt key, we can move this handle a little bit more this way to line up with the chin. And we're going to put another point here, drag out a little bit, put another point here, drag out a little bit, and then hold Alt, modify that handle a little bit, and then come down to the corner here, put in another one, and another one, and another one, because the nose is kind of a funny shape, so we want to make sure to get all the little details, because we're going to try to be pretty precise. And you just kind of go along putting in points, and then these last ones we can just go like that. Now we have managed to mask the grass on top of the horse's face, not quite what we want. So what we'll do is we'll come down into our effect controls, hit inverted, and that will then make the grass visible everywhere else. So we'll bring that up to 100%, and now we can see we've got this ring, this halo around the horse. So we're going to bring the mask feather down to about, let's go with 2. Okay, so that's going to be pretty precise. And from this point, because we've got such good detail here, we can go ahead and just double check. So I'm just going to select each one, just move it a little, and then put it back. And you can use your arrow keys to move these over pixel by pixel kind of thing. So we'll just select this and put it there. That looks pretty good. And go here. We want to get this first one pretty solid. So I'm just going to select there. I'm going to move this little handle a little like that. Come with this one. And this is what rotoscoping is. I mean, you might, if you've ever been in the VFX world or want to be in the VFX world or study any of this kind of thing, you're going to hear a lot. I'm going to hold the Alt key here because I just want to move this one handle alone. I don't want to move both handles, so I just want to move the one. So we're just going to leave that one. That one looks pretty good, like that. Move this one over, like so. and continue around. Because Premiere doesn't have automatic rotoscoping features like After Effects does, like a subject selector. Come over to this one. I'm just going to bring this down a little, and then this one can come way over here. Now, these top ones don't matter because we're not actually masking much of anything. We're just closing up the mask. So that is one frame. Now, when you're done this one frame, this is something you cannot forget. Hit the little toggle animation time icon here. That will set a keyframe. You can see we've got a keyframe right at the end of our animation, and the last frame doesn't show because there's nothing there. So now we've got, and we'll just go back and we'll check, we'll put it to 100%, we'll just see how does that look. And that actually looks really nice. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's great. So that's one keyframe done. So if we move the timeline over one space, then the horse's head moves and we have to move our mask with it. So once you've moved it one frame, and you can do multiple frames, but because we have so few frames to do, we really only have this many frames, roundabouts. We can actually just keyframe every single frame. So we're going to go to the next frame, hit the mask, so it will show up on our screen. Go back to 400% because this is as close as we can get. Come down and a little bit over, and then we'll just take the whole mask and move it over, just like that. And we can usually get it pretty good off the get-go. So we'll just move this a little bit here. I think this one needs to move a smidge this way. Okay, so see how both these handles move? We don't want both of them moving. That's why we hold the Alt key down, or Option on a Mac, and just snug that in just nicely there. Just double check, make sure we're not cutting off the face. Move this a little bit. And rotoscoping is a pretty important task to do. You really want to get this right. You don't want to be slightly off, or it's going to show your 3D footage is not going to sell as well as you'd like it to, because you'll be cutting off either part of the subject that you're trying to mask, or you're showing too much of the. So we wouldn't want to show. Whoops, we wouldn't want to show too much of the grass over top of her face either. So it's things to think about. So that's another frame done. And it automatically puts a keyframe in. We can go ahead and zoom in a little bit and we can see that there's another keyframe here. So let's move over one more keyframe or one more frame, and we'll go ahead and move the mask, and it'll automatically make that keyframe so right there. So there it is. So then it's going to remember where this position is. And we just go ahead and continue to move these little dots around. Dots and handles. So rotoscoping or masking is always just about the dots and the handles. And you really want to, and it takes a little bit of time. If you want a job doing this kind of thing because you're rather particular about stuff and you find this interesting, there will be a ton of jobs out there for you. Okay, keep moving along. Okay, so I've made it to what I believe is the final frame here. So we can see that our mask moves along with our horse and essentially puts our horse in front. And that didn't take too long at all. It's not too many keyframes. You can actually do quite long animations of having to mask or rotoscope. So we're just going to go to 100% and take a look at that. We'll just click anywhere to get rid of the mask, hide that mask. And we'll just give this a quick scroll through here and just see how it looks. And what I'm noticing right here is that there's a bit of a halo on top of the horse's nose. You see how it's just there? So I'm just going to fix that. So we'll go back and click on the mask, and we'll just bring this back. Sometimes it's a little hard to select just the point that you want. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this one over here, go like that, and this one like that, and this one up here. And let's move this point up a little, like that, and a little like this. All right, unselect, and that's a little bit better. Yeah, right there, we can just see that little bit. And it also might be that the mask feather is too much. Let's set this down to 1. Yep, see, so that hugged it in quite nicely, actually. We can probably go up with that. And that's that. And you might be able to see things more at 400%, but down to 100%, it doesn't look like that. So that there puts the horse in front of our 3D material, which is what we want. That sells the shot a little bit better rather than having the face be behind the grass. So that's a really quick introduction. I know it's kind of quick. I just wanted to do something that just lets you know that you can put stuff behind the subject that's actually in the video just through a little bit of masking or rotoscoping here in Premiere. And even though it's a little bit tedious, it can definitely be done. Okay, that's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.